the front. But look who's right hanging in there is Michael Andretti with that Ford Cosworth.
Good representation through the top 5. Tracking Jimmy Vasser, he's 16. He's right behind Christian Fittipaldi on the racetrack and really doesn't seem to be able to get out of that position. Salazar is just behind him. Focus here is second place. Back at third place, Zanardi and Michael Andretti. And Michael's now trying to make his move. Michael moves for third, takes it from Zanardi. You know, I'm trying to search memory and try to remember when I could remember a Michigan 500 where not only they are swapping the lead this much early on, but battling all through the top 10. I really can't remember one. This is great. My guess would be, Danny, that maybe the rain possibility, because it is possible here, enters into all that. We've said it before, but it's darkening a little bit.
Well, it's darkening a little bit, but and I'm sure that's in the back of their mind, but I think these guys just have cars that are working well. They run here in May, so they knew what the problems were. They came back, the field was closely bunched together. I think they're just racy. Their cars are handling good. Don't forget, to call it a race, it has to go 126 laps, just over half distance for it to be an official race. So they've got a long ways to go to get to that.
Back up at the front of the field, Greg Moore is now inching a little bit away. He's managed to put just a second pad on second place Adrian Fernandez. There is the interval physically. That's, of course, P.J. Jones in the Toyota that just came through as the rest of the field's working around P.J. And his teammate Fangio, they've been watching that car. There was a report of spray at the back of the car. The officials have been keeping track of that, and if anything changes there, we'll update you. So Ribeiro now closes on Zanardi. On board Ribeiro. Zanardi comes around the All-American racer of Dan Gurney. Now Ribeiro comes around. Now the report, Parker Johnstone has begun to slow coming onto the backstretch. We'll keep an eye on him for you. There's Parker. Dominated this race last year, but could not take the win. Telltale vapor at the back of that engine, Danny.
That smoke is not a good sign, particularly this early in the race.
Well, Parker Johnstone was running in 10th place and steadily holding on there at 10. Well, let's hope whatever this stop is going to be won't find it to be the end of his run, because Parker was putting a pretty good race together. 61 laps are complete. Greg Moore is the leader right now, followed by Fernandez.
This Ford Fact is brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealers. Have you driven a Ford lately? In 1991, IndyCar introduced these transmitters that are located on the lower left side pod of an IndyCar that transmit a signal that's received by an antenna that's buried in the racetrack. Now that gives you very accurate timing and scoring readings. But since 1991, it has evolved now to where the teams don't just have a display in the pits, they can actually capture the data. What do I mean by that? They have a wireless communication system that picks up the signal from timing and scoring, then linked to a laptop computer where you can watch the running order of the race, and then a simulated pit board saying we're in P1, position 1, lap 31, and that's how fast the leader is running. So what does that mean as far as being in the pits and having the actual data? The teams now write their own software to analyze this data to decide when to come onto pit road. And the neat thing, all that data is stored here on the hard drive, so on the way home on the airplane, they can find out if they made the right decision.
At the Michigan 500, we've just gone yellow for debris. No incident on the course, but as the pace car comes by, you can see that a lot of crews have laid out, including Greg Moore's crew, the leader of the race. And the rule would say follow the leader in. Fernandez certainly is following that rule. as is Michael Andretti, Alex Zanardi, the whole front of the order. But Danny, this is only 23 laps since the last stop. So really the key here is tires?
Well, the key is the tires, and also you want to take the opportunity. It's close enough. You want to take that opportunity to get fuel and tires so you can go along green.
Jack Arute.
Well, it was also a key move for Alex Zanardi. And look at this. Fernandez has spun. He actually got on it quick. They had a very fast stop. He looked in his mirror. He saw that he was going to be the first one out, and he got over rambunctious and spun the car.
And a dangerous position for some of those crew members as they get him around so he can at least get it turned before the wall, and now he can get away. But that was costly for Fernandez, who was right in the middle of the fight, came in second place.
It was, and look at him. He'll get out there. Go, go, go. Good stop. Sharp angle. Stood on the gas too much. But don't forget, and look at, did you see there at the top of your screen, Greg Moore locked up his tires. I believe that was Michael Andretti possibly pulled out in front of him, locked him up. That might have flat spotted a front tire.
Here's another look at the same thing.
Look at the top of your screen, the blue car. Oh, we lost it there.
But you certainly see. Now here is Moore coming out. Here comes Fernandez.
Left of your screen, the blue car. Fernandez, bottom of your screen, spins it around there.
Michael's rolling.
Okay, here's Michael in the black car coming into your screen, a little sideways. Boom, right up there in front of Greg. Watch that. See those puffs of smoke? Locked him up. I don't think that's going to be too critical. It wasn't too bad. And Fernandez, even though he lost the ground, this is a 500-mile race. He got out. He's still there. He didn't lose the ground because of a yellow flag. He'll be at the back of the pack, but he's still out there.
All right, let's go back to the pits and Jack.
Well, let's see if we can explain to you why this type of thing happens. Right here is the Tasman pit area. Now, the first one is Andre Ribeiro. Directly behind him is the Mexican Fernandez. Now, over here is the line that ends pit road as far as the speed limit is concerned. So when the Tasman team gets on the gas, they just have to hit this line, and they can go from 80 miles an hour to as fast as they desire. Well, all the fast guys, at least the guys that are running up front with the exception of Greg Moore, are all clustered right here. These drivers are watching their mirror while the service is going on. Michael Andretti had such a great stop last time. Remember, he beat Fernandez out. It was a drag race. Fernandez hit the gas, forget the button to override the speed, because when he got here, he lit the tires up, lost traction, and almost hit the wall.
So under yellow, back with Christian Fittipaldi, currently runs in 9th. Everybody has made 2 stops at the front of the order, with the exception of Andre Ribeiro, who, remember, made a stop early and is therefore 3 stops into this race, but nevertheless, he runs in 6th place. The order is Michael Andretti leads, Greg Moore second, Al Unser Jr., Alex Zanardi, Scott Pruitt, Andre Ribeiro, Raul Boesel, Mauricio Gugelmin, and Christian Fittipaldi, where we're on board right now, is 9th, and Stefan Johansson sits back in 10th position. So we watch as Christian Fittipaldi. Let's take a look at Christian, who started racing very early on. There's a very young Christian Fittipaldi, a little older, with his uncles and dad's logo on the helmet. And I'll tell you what, he will race anything that he possibly can. But though he was a boy early, the boy's not left him. In his second season in the Indy cars, 30 starts, 6 finishes in the top 5. We want to see him in winner's circle. Looking now on the Bud car over the right shoulder of Christian Fittipaldi as we send you to Gary Gerald.
Some updates on other stops. Greg Moore in routine service, no changes on the car. Al Unser Jr. came in, 11-second service for him and out, no significant changes. Parker Johnstone's crew working diligently at the right rear. They're changing the entire upright, the hub carrier, and the right rear suspension. They don't know what happened, but we believe there may have been contact because Davy Jones in the Gallus car, number 10, came in and got a new nose almost at the same time. So there may have been a little incident there, but a tough break for Parker Johnstone. Jack?
Let's update you on Team Ganassi. Now, here's Alex Zanardi's fuel hose. Just the lap prior to him coming in, they checked the hose. It broke. They made the change. Zanardi has a full tank of fuel. But for Jimmy Vasser, he has got continuing problems. They tried to balance the car out, but now Vasser is extremely upset because he's way in the back. And all the radio said to him is, get your adrenaline under control. Guys?
Jimmy Vasser will have to fight his way forward from back in the field at 12th position.
But don't forget, Jimmy's adrenaline is going up, not only because he started on the pole, not only because he's back in 12th, but because he hasn't had very many good races of late, and he feels that point slipping away from him.
Take a look down from the Honda Helicam as we are pretty close to going back to green flag racing. And the key, of course, is that IndyCar, under the new rules that they started at Milwaukee, they have the fast cars on the inside, down low, and everybody lap down will come back to the green flag sitting high.
That's right. But that choice is made by the drivers in the drivers meeting. They pick which side that they want to be on for fast and slow, and it can alter at the next oval.
But it doesn't seem like a logical choice here. Why would they do that?
Well, I think they want to have that inside line. It's a little shorter and a little faster.
All right, they pick the pace up as they come back to the green flag. Green finally comes out. Greg Moore ready to work on the leader of the race, Michael Andretti. The battle is back there at third place as Little Al comes inside of Zanardi. Three abreast down the backstretch. Somebody's going to have to give in here, aren't they? Yeah, finally, Little Al surges ahead of Moore, and in behind Zanardi. Then Al comes a little high.
Greg Moore seems to take a lap or two to settle down. That's pretty smart. One of the things I noticed, and look at there.
There comes Ribeiro.
That
Ribeiro comes inside Pruitt.
That bright yellow nose. Did you notice at the start? We're, of course, up at the top of the grandstand. Did you hear the crowd?
Oh, yeah.
They are loving this. This is a fabulous race.
There is Ribeiro as he moves inside of Davy Jones in the Delco car. Ribeiro, then wait a minute. Greg Moore slowed down.
Greg Moore, that's slowing.
So Greg Moore suddenly slows, turns for pit road as the rest of the field comes around. What could the problem possibly be? The crew is there and waiting. Here comes Moore, locks him up. Gary?
They're worried about the right rear upright. He shuts the engine down as the car goes up on the jacks, and the crew converges on the right rear side.
Look at that.
He came in for a stop. It was routine. They thought everything was great, and the rookie driver just shaking his head in frustration.
Fight for the lead as Alex Zanardi now moves on Michael Andretti, and Zanardi takes the lead. Gary will stay right there and keep track of that. Saw a little fire, it's a brake fire that you saw in the car.
I saw that little fire in there. Little grease that's coming out of that joint in there.
That's going to be more than routine. Normally you'll get a little puff and it'll go down, but that would indicate that something's wrong with that bearing because it's kicking grease out into
pushing the grease out there. That's his.
And here comes Ribeiro as he moves around Al Unser Jr. And so Ribeiro moves to third place. Here comes Scott Pruitt from behind, beginning now to work on Little Al. On board Pruitt. Thought he had Little Al set up, but he didn't have enough. Now Ribeiro, the yellow nose car, works on Michael Andretti. Battle between Ford Cosworth and Honda. The black car, Michael Andretti, is the Ford Cosworth. The LCI car, Andre Ribeiro, that's Honda powered. And Ribeiro gets him that time, while Pruitt's going to try Little Al again, but still he can't get it done. Comparison there is Mercedes versus Ford Cosworth.
And Goodyear versus Firestone.